Ever wonder what the must-see waterfalls are in the Ironwood area? What are the main waterfalls in Michigan's Western Upper Peninsula? This video will focus on the Montreal, Black, and Presque Isle Rivers, and provide information about access and amenities at each waterfall location. You might be surprised to learn just how many there are. First up, Interstate Falls, located just minutes outside Ironwood. Interstate Falls is located on the Montreal River and gets its name due to the river being the border between Wisconsin and Michigan. Not only is it close to town, but the hike is less than a half mile and fairly flat. From here, the Montreal River flows for over 27 miles before reaching its mouth at Lake Superior. The next two waterfalls are much closer to the lake. First, Saxon Falls, just 12 miles down the road from Interstate Falls. Saxon Falls is a multi-tiered waterfall that drops nearly 100 feet into what is the beginning of the 2-mile-long Montreal Canyon. It also might be the shortest hike of the day. After parking at the bottom of the hill, follow the chain-link fence until the waterfall is visible, less than 100 feet. Both Saxon and Interstate, as well as the next waterfall, Superior Falls, all have porta-johns at the parking areas too. Which brings us to the next waterfall and final drop on the Montreal River, Superior Falls, just 5 miles down the road from Saxon Falls. Superior Falls is made up of 3 separate waterfalls, the first 2 in the 15 to 20 foot range, and the final drop a massive 60-footer. The main drop is visible after walking less than 100 feet from the upper parking area. To get a closer view of the first 2 drops, follow the wide path from the parking area upstream until you see spur trails heading towards the river. At this point, you can hear the falls too. The second major river in the Ironwood area is the Black River, with its many large waterfalls located just 18 miles north of town. The first waterfall in a series of large ones is Great Conglomerate Falls. The hike for this one is 3/4 of a mile from the parking area to the falls, with a fair amount of stairs and downhill terrain as you get closer to the river. The falls splits around a large hump of rock, making 2 unique waterfalls at most flows. Downstream, it winds through a small canyon before the river widens above the next falls, Potawatomi and Gorge Falls. These 2 can be accessed from parking at either Gorge or Potawatomi Falls parking lots, with Potawatomi Falls being ADA accessible. This location also has public restrooms. The total hiking distance for both falls is less than a 1/4 mile, with stairs to viewing platforms for Gorge Falls. Despite being close in distance, you'll notice how different the 2 waterfalls are from one another. Just a short drive down the road brings you to Sandstone Falls. This hike isn't very long, at just a 1/4 mile. However, the trail descends many stairs on the way to the river, increasing the effort it takes to get there. You'll notice that Sandstone Falls also has its own unique character. Here, the river cuts through a wall of conglomerate rock, creating unique shapes and patterns along the banks and the riverbed. Another short drive down Black River Road leads you to one of 2 options for viewing Rainbow Falls. The first is a 1/4 mile hike with quite a few steps bringing you right to the edge of the waterfall. Here you can feel the strength of the water as it plunges over 60 feet. The second option is parking at the end of the road, at Black River Harbor, and following the North Country Trail about 1 mile to a viewing area across from the falls. Here, you get to cross a massive wooden suspension bridge, as well as see some large hemlock trees as you head upstream. Rainbow Falls provides an appropriate exclamation point to this wild and scenic section of river. Although most well known for the waterfalls along its scenic byway, many miles upstream, the Black River cascades over one more big one. Gabbro Falls, also known as Baker Falls, is an impressive multi-tiered drop. It's also got one of the shortest hikes on this list. After crossing the bridge over the river at the base of the ski area, follow the road uphill a short distance until things slightly flatten out, and you'll see a small trail heading toward the river. This wild drop does not have any fencing or barriers, so enjoy the scenery from a safe distance. The third major river in the Western Upper Peninsula is the Presque Isle River, just 30 miles from Ironwood and 17 miles outside of Wakefield. Beginning at the river mouth, within the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park, you'll find 4 named waterfalls as you head upstream. The parking lot is large and has restrooms and a covered picnic area. The river has a path on both sides, with boardwalks and viewing platforms on the near side and a wild, rugged trail on the far side. It's a little over 1 mile from the mouth of the river to South Boundary Road. The downstream-most waterfall is known as the Potholes, the Zoom Flume, and Swinging Bridge Falls. Regardless of what you call it, it's a scenic icon of Michigan and the Upper Peninsula, and worth a visit. Not far upstream, you'll reach Manabezzo Falls, a massive 25-foot ledge drop. The boardwalk gives you multiple options for viewing this, including bringing you right to the lip of the drop. Just a bit further, you'll reach Manito Falls. Manito Falls is a series of odd-angled ledges, with the river dropping quite a bit of gradient as it works its way over the rock. Potholes are prominent throughout this section of the Presque Isle River, and at low water, they really stand out. The final waterfall in this section is just upstream a quarter mile, Nawadaha Falls. Here, the river plunges over a large, irregular ledge, which often catches a tree or two, and that wraps up the waterfalls of the Presque Isle River. As you head back to the trailhead, make sure to explore the island at the mouth of the river. Perhaps you caught on to the theme, that there is always more to explore. Here's a list of GPS coordinates to the trailheads for each waterfall mentioned in this video. Ironwood, Michigan. Find your north.